Hey there, folks. Vince, the Evil DM, the podfather of OSR podcasting. Yes, that's the title I've been named by Eric Tankar for podcasting, so I rolled with it. Why not? Anyway, here on my YouTube channel, I usually have a general thoughts video. I did that in the past, and I stopped doing them because they weren't really that focused. And I kind of wanted to focus back on different things and different topics, but every once in a while, a general thought pops up in my mind. So I was listening to Jeff, one of my players in my group, a buddy of mine, his Go On Man podcast, which you can go on to anchor.fm/GoOnMan, I think it is. Sorry about that. I'll put the link in the comments below. But he was talking about mission or hub campaigns, and which is something that I normally do in my campaigns because it allows players to drop in and out of the campaigns left and right, and you don't have to worry too much about continuation or continuity in the campaign. So what is a hub mission based type world campaign? Plain and simple, it's a base of operations where all the characters go at the end of the session or the current arc of the campaign. It's where they go to recuperate, heal up, rest their heads, where they go to research, where they go to train, where they go to store supplies. It's also a place where they can obtain missions. This works really well in video games, hence that is a one-dimensional type world. It doesn't really need much interaction except for go here, that blah blah. Does it work in RPG games though? Yeah, it really does, and I kind of have proven it myself in my games and never really knew about it until kind of Jeff pointed it out the other day when I was listening to his show pretty much. In World of Arcanus, the first edition Dungeons & Dragons game I run, the characters had a base of operations in town where they can go to hide out, rest, obtain information from the resistance leader, and go about their business throughout town. It was a town-based campaign. So what they would do at the end of the session is they would accomplish what they wanted to do, and then they would go back to this base of operations, heal up for further information from the resistance leader. Get their information, head back out, and boom. If players were unable to play in the campaign that next following week, it was still fine because they were in the hub mission area and they'd always come back to that area. So if a player dropped out, you could just say he was off on a side adventure. In my Marvel X Universe game, the villains had a couple of bases where they can always come back to and rest and find their information out. The first one was when they had their underground base before it got ruined. And then later on it was under William Stark's in his house in his little secret laboratory. They used that as a base of operations, a place where they can go, obtain information, rest their heads. Someone can drop in and out and they can go fly around and whatever. This past weekend for Halloween, I started to bring back my Dead Rain game called Dead Winter, which you can find at rollhighordie.com. And their base of operations in that was a FEMA station. After they cleared it out, they took it over. They now had their base of operations, so they could stay there, recuperate, gather up their supplies, and then when they needed to go out, they'd go out on a mission, like on a supply run, a gas run, whatever they needed to, and come back. Some players were not present during this adventure this past weekend, but they still had the ability to go out, not worry about them, and then come back to the actual FEMA station when they were done. So it works really well for characters that want to drop in and out of your campaign, and you don't have the players to do it. So if you have a mission-based or a hub world campaign, there's always that room for players dropping in and out. Now, they kind of call that, there's also another term called a Western March campaign, things like that, or rotating player campaign. What we used to call back in the 80s, we'd call it rotating DMs, rotating player campaigns. And then later on, that Matt Colville guy decided he was going to name it the Western Marshes, whatever the frick he calls it, campaign world, which I don't care. We called it what we wanted to call it, co-DMing or co-campaigning. But in this sense, I like it a lot because it leaves room for people to drop in and out. And if you want to have a special guest come in, like a person who doesn't normally play campaigns, comes into your game, wants to try something out, slap down a character sheet, that player is the guest of the week, and he could have been in this hub area or mission area the entire time, and you don't have to worry about a backstory and get into all that. That person can jump in and play and not have any issues with the game. So it was just a general thoughts I wanted to talk about today about that. What do you think? Do you use mission or hub type campaigns in your world? Or are you just a straight story going forward, linear, that's it? Or do you do this type of thing, make the players come back, get missions, go out, boom, back and forth to their campaign and the world around them? I don't know. Anyway, check out the things I'm doing here at theevildm.com. That's where all my information is going to be for everything I do, including the podcast and for streaming, twitch.tv/SupremeChancellorX. With that said, oh, yes, that's right. The rumors are true about the Roll for Initiative podcast lost episode has been found, and I'm currently editing it as we speak. It's going to take a little while because I have to figure out what I can and can't leave into it. I know there was a reason why we didn't release it, so I have to figure out why, because it's been 10 years since I've heard this. This is from the earlier days of the podcast, so got to figure out why. And once I'm done with that, I will release that episode for everybody out there. So I want to say, keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody.